morning, everyone. I hope that you were also inspired by the previous talk of Mr. Lambert on how powerful is this community. And with generative AI, we are getting even more power and more responsibility as well. But to be honest, it is really hard to believe that it's less than 9 months from AI revolution of ChatGPT. And we are here with you, going to spend the next 20 minutes discussing how Gen AI is already reshaping such a creative industry as graphic design and website design specifically. Since ChatGPT and improvements in text-to-image models hit the scene, companies are trying to figure out, how can you take this technology and shape it into product? So people can not only craft posts for social media or generate really nice futuristic images, but how can we shape this technology so it can change the way we work, the way we create, and maybe even the way we live? So today I'm going to talk with you about how we at Wix are trying to make sense of this all-new technology stack to change the experience of how users are building their website and doing design for it. Since I will be mainly showcasing all the examples on website creation, but graphic design is everywhere, and the approach is very similar. So graphic design is creation on infographics, it's design of mobile apps, it's even crafting the design and pages of fashion magazines. And if you don't find yourself in any of these areas, if you have ever opened PowerPoint and started to create your presentation, welcome, you're also in graphic design world. Graphic design, I need some help. Okay, thanks. So basically, how do you design these things? And usually companies, they provide editors where you can start with creating a template of your design, choosing a template of your design. Then there is simple drag and drop feature when you take buttons, images, and text, and you are moving it around the canvas to create something you like. Then you can edit fonts and styles and colors. That was the most convenient way to do graphic design till March of this year, when OpenAI team released GPT-4 and showed their demo. And if you didn't see it, I would like us to watch it together. So this is Greg Brockman. He's co-founder of OpenAI and ChatGPT. And now it should play.
A nice hand-drawn mock-up of a joke website. Definitely worthy of being put up on my refrigerator. So I'm just going to take out my phone, take a photo of this mock-up. And here we go. And now we wait. And so we can actually take now this output. So literally we just said to output the HTML from that picture. And here we go. Actual working JavaScript, filled in the jokes. For comparison, this was the original of our mockup. And so there you go, going from hand-drawn, beautiful art, if I do say so myself, to working website.
Okay, so you can imagine our team at this moment. We were like, wow, and what now does it mean for website designers, for designers, and for this world of graphic design? Is it a revolution? Definitely. But when you think about it, what's here, it's just a landing page, which is pretty static, not super modern. And then, how do you edit it? So I would say what we just saw is really a nice and impressive POC, how future of design could look like, but it is not a ready product. And it begs the question, if we really want to create a product out of generative AI technology, how do we do it? I need help. Sorry. Clicker.
A nice hand-drawn mock-up of a joke website. Definitely worthy of being put up on my refrigerator. So I'm just going.
Okay, this is a spoiler. So next we're going to talk about how actually you can create a working product out of Gen AI technology, and I will stop shortly on some key elements of design. But before we jump, how do we create websites with AI? How do we create websites as a human? And usually it all starts with the idea of what you have in mind, like images and some pieces of text. Then you are choosing a layout. It's basically how would you balance visual information, videos or images with a textual one. After that, what we've noticed from our users, people are usually start to add images because maybe it's the easiest one, and only after that, they are adding actual text. Once you have it ready, you go into refine your presentation or your website with adding different styles and colors. And as I showed previously, one of the ways to automate it with AI is to allow users to sketch, take a photo, and transform it to HTML. But there is another way, which is much more natural for us as humans. It's natural language. And that's the rise of AI assistants. And I will show you a small demo of how we see it and how it's working at Wix. I must say that this is a similar approach which is working in other companies. Okay. Basically, what we see here is that we have an AI assistant which is talking with user in natural language, trying to understand the goal of the design and showing preferences. How do we build such a system? And I will tell about one of the approaches to do it, about multimodality. It's like when you generate something which has different types of content. It's still a research field and things can change, but that's what is currently working, and that's the architecture you can take and go to production with it. So the approach is called agent approach, and the heart of AI assistant is large language models, the smartest you can have. So that's the heart and the brain of the system. This language model knows what are the APIs available, what are the services available to create website design. And you can think it's like very natural. When you want to create a website, you will go to different experts, like someone who will write text for you, someone who will design images, someone who will compose. The same architecture is here. We have different APIs which are responsible for each design element of the website. And on top of that, we can have even another API which will combine all together to a nice looking website. So this heart of the system, it takes query from a user about what you want to create. Let's say you want to create a website for a dog walker in Porto. And then this language model communicates with services and generates a website. Let's talk about text generation. I understand that you might have tried it, and it's a really nice thing which works. So this AI assistant, at the very beginning of the conversation, it talks with user and tries to figure out what are the goals, what is the most important textual pieces we should add to the website. And then the software behind it, it tosses different prompts for different businesses and different types and creates the content. And you can say, Olga, what is difficult? OpenAI did everything for you already. And it is true, But the thing is that when you are starting to move this generative AI technology to production, your journey looks like this. This is done in Kruger effect. Maybe you've heard about it somewhere before. But it says that actually, the less expertise you have, the more optimistic you are about results. Once you have more expertise, you are in a valley of despair because you see many problems. And then you need to work a bit harder to improve everything. That's how it works with Gen AI technology. The beginning is like, wow. And then you really need to work hard to tune the rest. So what can go wrong with text generation? So basically, the simple prompt to ChatGPT, like please design me a text for beautician website will work. But we are working in design domain. It means that the length of the text is super important. Otherwise, it will break the layout and the design. So we need to learn how to control length. When we are deploying these models at scale, we need to make sure that the websites are different should be different. So we need to make sure that we have variability. And also we need to control tone of voice and style. So basically, final prompt is a bit more difficult, but still it's ChatGPT, though with a few control things like a few shots, specific instructions, and making it conversational. Switching to image generation, what about it? Of course, we have many tools to generate images, and it's text-to-image interface, so you basically prompt DALL-E, Midjourney, Dream Studio, whatever, with what you want to get. It's a bit harder to tune. But what about graphic design? In graphic design applications, it's super important to have image consistency. You don't need one image for your design. You need the whole collection. And you want really this image to look similar and to have something similar. And it is a challenge. And one of the ways to overcome this challenge is prompt engineering. You can be very, very precise in your prompt, describe all the colors, all the elements, run a few times and hope it will work, you will get a collection. But another technology which we have is called outpainting, when we generate first image and we cut the piece of the image and let algorithm to figure out what will be the rest. So that's how it's one of the ways to create collections. But okay, what's new? Like you already heard, I guess, about image generation and text generation. But can you go beyond it? Can you generate more design elements? How you can train AI system to design layouts? One of the ways to think about it is layout is kind of a very specific case of image, right? Like not that fun, but still it's an image. Why can't we take the same technology which image generation uses and apply it to layout design? Let's have a quick recap on how tech behind image generation looks. So image generation currently is powered by diffusion models. And diffusion model input is a noisy image and a description what you might want to see there once the image is being denoised. And diffusion process, it step by step reduces noise from the image, and once all the noise is reduced, you are getting an image. And if you do not tell this model what do you want to see there, you are just getting something random based on what this model saw before. But you can also condition. You can actually guide this model on what you expect to see after the noise reduction. And that's how you can generate image of what you need. I understand that it can be a bit more theoretical, but it's important to understand what we're going further. How are these models trained? These models are trained on pairs of images original and images with specific kind of noise and different levels of noise. And these models are trained to reduce specific kind of noise, to reduce it. So basically, maybe we can take layouts, photos of layouts, add specific kind of noise, and train these models to reduce this noise. And that's how we will get the same, we'll generate layouts. It's a very nice idea, but it has a few problems. It's unpredictable, you never know what you will get. And you have limited controllability. Let's say that you generated a layout of images and buttons in pixels. How do you edit? How do you move? How do you change the size? It's really hard. Overall, layout generation is a hard problem, especially layout from text. But what researchers like to do when you have hard problem, we try to simplify. And they say, let's simplify this problem of layout generation. Let's assume that the input is let's go, you are creating PowerPoint presentation, and you just randomly add images and text on it. You don't really care where you put them, you just put them. And we think that it's our initial setup. So it's wireframe with different elements. And then we are trying to narrow down the problem. Let's decide problem of placement and sizing. Let's decide problem of initial design. Let's decide problem of diversity. So basically, that's how currently research is approaching layout generation problem. What does it have to do with, wanted also to share just how it will look for a user. A user, again, will prompt this neural network with a prompt, but it will have a bit different structure. In this structure, we'll have component, let's say text, and maybe something that we don't know. Maybe we know what will be the size. Maybe we know what will be the place. And then we let neural network to fill in the missing, to decide on the size if we didn't specify it, to decide on the place if we didn't specify it. And then we are getting this third picture with icon, text, and button. And using the technology I described previously, like text and image, we inject the content into this design template. So our team this year, together with other teams who are doing it, we proposed a solution to this problem, and it's called condition layout generation with diffusion layout transformer. It can sound hard, but the principle is super the same. So basically, we are taking layouts, we are doing changes to them using diffusion process. We are unnoising them, these layouts, and then we train model to denoise these layouts back. And that's how we can take this model and generate layouts further. And it looks super natural. You can think about it. That's how designers do, right? They put elements, and then they, step by step, they try to refine and move elements around. And the diffusion process is like, it's super natural way to solve the design problems. So let's summarize. Now you have, I showed two ways how you can use generative AI for design. One is to sketch, take photo, send to GPT-4, and get HTML code. Another one, we can get a super smart LLM agent, which will take user's query, understand intents, operate with different APIs, and create a new custom, and I hope the design which will users like. And I here just wanted to outline what kind of things you can already use in your product or in your life. So text generation is pretty cool. It's very developed. You can go and use it in production. Media generation, text to image, is also pretty developed. In painting, out painting is a bit harder, but it's still things which you can already try to use in the product. But there is still a big research field. How do you generate fonts for design? How do you take all the context around this person during generation of design? And I think that the next few years, community will be really busy by solving this problem. How do you take the Gen AI technology and build a product around this system, which will change the way we work and the way we create. Thank you all for listening, and I really wanted to give credits to my amazing team who are brave enough to make this happen in production for million users. And basically, this talk was originally ideated by head of AI research team at Wix, and I'm happy to be here on behalf of him. Thanks.
So thank you, Olga, for the great presentation. So we have questions from the audience. I don't know if you want to sit or we can just stand. Okay, well, you can sit. Yeah, so the first question that we have, here's some competition for the most voted questions. They keep changing. So from Tiago Cabo, great demo. How did you build the datasets for the style generation API or layout selection, for example?
Wow, it's a very good question. Basically, no, Wix is. I already understand that not all know, but Wix is a really big platform. It's like 15 years old and it has more than 200 million users. So it means we do really know how layouts look and what is a good layout, what is not, and different kinds of design. And I think that's what really helps us to do the things at scale and in production.
Okay, thank you. So now, the most voted question now is from Raquel Bello. Do you think that using these tools to generate websites can affect their creativity and individuality?
Well, I love this question. I think that, like human brain is so powerful in the way we create and the way we try to demonstrate our ideas visually, that definitely at the current stage, AI won't be able to replace it. But what I notice on myself is that it really helps you to design faster. So it really helps you to start with your ideas. It reduces time of procrastination when you're going and you're trying to be creative. It doesn't work. So I think that's what the role of Gen AI right now.
Okay, thank you. So now, from Pedro Rodrigues, staff data scientist at TalkDesk, do you evaluate the final complete result after all the components, layout, style, images?
Another good question. Yes, and I think that we do evaluate, and I think basically evaluation part is the part which is like an obstacle between Gen AI and production, because evaluation of all the generative AI system is very tedious and unpleasant and time-consuming process. But for us, it's important, so we do evaluate, and I can say it's hard.
Okay, so now the classical question from Federico Vacci, data scientist at ball.com. How do you deal with hallucinations?
I expected this question because in LLMs, everyone is really afraid of hallucination, and we also do. But hallucinations are really, they are really dangerous in things like chatbot, where you need to be very precise. But this is a tool which is creative, right? It generates text. And when you do some kind of hallucination, it's not that critical. But where it can be critical is the agent itself, this brain. So we need to make sure that it doesn't do crazy things. And since the brain output is pretty deterministic, like we know what we expect, so we can put guardrails to check that this brain generates good results.
Okay, so I think we have time for a quick one. From Daniel Prista, a volunteer at the SPT, SEO farms that generate hundreds of sites with garbage content is already a problem today. Generative AI can make it exponentially worse. How can we prevent these tools to be used with that purpose?
The purpose garbage sites?
Well, avoiding overproduction, I guess. That's the point of the question. It's not really your problem, but what do you think about it?
I just, maybe I will turn it to be more another thing about what Mr. Lambert said about responsibility, right? We own this technology as Gen AI, and we don't really care about garbage side, but we care about dangerous side, like abuse, something illegal, and that's like we can use another machine learning techniques to handle it. So I think it's less about garbage, it's more about what is there in this garbage.